Hey guys, Jason High back here with another quick video. Man, the Home Run Derby, the 2024 Major League Baseball Home Run Derby just concluded, and Bobby Witt Jr. came one home run short of tying Teoscar Hernandez in the final round. So Teoscar Hernandez was the 2024 Home Run Derby champ. First LA Dodger to ever do so. That was kind of surprising to me. They said that during the broadcast. A Royal has never won the Home Run Derby and unfortunately still never has won the Home Run Derby. But LA Dodger finally did win their first Home Run Derby. So at least good for the Dodgers there for them getting their first one as well. We can sympathize a little bit. But, man, this was so exciting. I don't have a ton of analysis here. I mean, it was a Home Run Derby, right? I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't a game. It wasn't a contest necessarily. But it was really exciting to see a Kansas City Royal like that in the spotlight in the 2024 Home Run Derby in front of everybody. It was a very exciting format. I thought it was really cool. You know, he had the format this year. For those of you, it changes kind of every year. They kind of seem to tinker with it a little bit. I won't say it changes every year, but it seems like the last few years it pretty much has changed almost every year. And yeah, this year it was top four advance in the first round, so it was not a head-to-head, kind of like it was back in 2021 when Salvador Perez was last in the Home Run Derby. He was the last Kansas City Royal to be in the Home Run Derby, and he had a great first round, but he came short because he was going up against Pete Alonso, and he did not advance even though he hit the second most home runs out of the 8 players in the first round back in 2021. But this year, Bobby Witt Jr. was great. He hit 20 home runs in the first round, which was the second most, so he easily cleared that. Then in the second round, he got to 17, and then in the last round, he got 13. He was 1 home run short of Teoscar Hernandez. So exciting, too. The last pitch he hit was about 2 or 3 feet short of being a home run. It was really close. I really thought he had a chance there because he hit that 425-foot home run in the second to last pitch that actually gives you a bonus. So, yeah, so the rules were, pretty interesting this year. I kind of liked the setup of it overall. I thought it was interesting how it seemed like Bobby Witt was swinging really quickly. He went through his swings faster than he went through his time. So it was a timed and there was a swing limit. Or a pitch limit, I guess I should say. So, yeah, it was an interesting format this year, but it was just really cool to see Bobby Witt competed, and it was really cool to see him do well. He is such an exciting player. He is probably the best Royals player I think we've seen. I don't know, man. I mean, is he the best Royals player since George Brett? Am I going too far with saying that? I don't know that I am. His OPS right now is above 920, and we're at the All-Star break. I mean, he's such a young player. He's 24 years old. It's only his 3rd year in Major League Baseball. He's already got that huge contract in hand, and he's just still playing, and he's improving. He's one of the best players in baseball right now. He's a legitimate MVP candidate. And it's so cool to just see him do well in a contest like this. Like we said, he didn't win it, but that's okay. Something like this, it's memorable, the fact that you got that close and that you were in it and that you performed that well. Bobby Witt Jr. is from Texas. The Home Run Derby this year was in Texas. It was at the Rangers Stadium. So he was really close to where he grew up. Probably almost certainly had a lot of family and friends there. They were talking and pointing them out throughout the game. So I'm sure he had 20, 30 people there probably that knew him. So really, really cool to see that. And yeah, I wish he'd won it. He was really close. It would have been awesome if he had won it right now. But I figured, I'm going to do a video anyways because it was just so good. It was so compelling, and I thought it was really fun to watch. Yeah, back to kind of the actual Royals themselves. Yeah, they did lose 2 out of 3 of the Red Sox this weekend, but they are only 2 games behind a playoff spot. They did pick up a reliever this weekend in Hunter Harvey from the Nationals. They traded 3rd baseman Caden Wallace, and they traded a draft pick. So the Royals have been very busy because the MLB draft first round was also yesterday, and they picked up the player from Florida, the 2A player from Florida. And so, yeah, he looks like he's going to be something, but who knows? It's Major League Baseball draft. I don't really get too involved in that, honestly. I know he's a 2-way player. I know he hits bombs. I think Jock is his name, but I forget his last name at the moment. But yeah, he could be something. He may not be. The Royals had the 6th pick. You just never know. But yeah, so it's been a busy week for the Royals. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to see the Royals having 4 All-Stars at the game that will be held tomorrow night. I'm excited to see what happens there. The Royals are a couple games within a playoff spot. They've been playing a little better ball lately. And, yeah, it's really exciting to see the Royals in it. And I'm just, I just say this to Kansas City Royals fans. Just be excited that your team is in the playoff hunt legitimately. They have 4 players representing their team at the All-Star game. Salvador Perez is going to his 9th All-Star game, which I think is very much putting him in potential Hall of Fame territory. I know his on-base percentage is only .303 for his career, which is not very good, but the list is very, very short of Major League Baseball catchers who have made 9 All-Star games. I'm going to do a little bit of a breakdown later this week on Salvador Perez and the Royals going forward in the second half. But yes, things are very good right now for the Royals. I know that they've cooled off a little bit since that early hot start, but they are very much still in it. The Royals made a buyer's trade this weekend in going and getting Hunter Harvey, and that is a very exciting move, I think, if you're a Royals fan. And I just want to say this, too, for the folks that are worried about the Royals trading away a young prospect like Caden Wallace. Caden Wallace is the kind of prospect that could end up being something. He may not end up being something. They traded him and the 39th pick in the draft. Caden Wallace was a solid prospect for the Royals. MLB Pipeline, I think, had him as the 2nd highest prospect the Royals had. There was a Baseball Reference, I believe, had him as the 5th or 6th prospect. So, he was a consensus top 10 prospect for the Royals, but he was not a top 100 prospect in baseball. He's only in Double-A right now. We'll see what ends up happening with him. He's not been tearing up Double-A by any means. He's been good there, but he hasn't been amazing. And I just want to say that I think that Royals fans sometimes, because we've just been so accustomed to trading away players at the deadline rather than trading for them, I think sometimes Royals fans overvalue prospects. I'm not saying you shouldn't keep your prospects. I'm not saying you obviously shouldn't have a good farm system. You obviously should. Part of the reason the Royals, a lot of people were so down on the Royals coming into this season wasn't just because of the Major League team. It was because their farm system was not ranked very highly. It's not going back to 2011, 2012, when you've got Eric Hosmers and Moustakas and Canes and Greg Hollands and these guys coming up, and you feel some hope for the future necessarily. Obviously, the way the Royals have played this year has completely changed that narrative, and right now I think you should have a ton of hope going forward if you're a Royals fan. But I think that we've kind of really just skewed our valuations for prospects, because the reality is a guy like Caden Wallace, we don't know what he's going to be. You don't know what he's going to be. He's not the number 1 prospect in your system. He's not a can't miss by any means. He's not a top 100 Major League Baseball prospect right now. He's not a Bobby Witt Jr. 3 or 4 years ago, where he was the number 2 pick in the draft. It's like, okay, we can't trade this guy. He's not that. So, yes, the guy that they got back, Hunter Harvey, is a non-closing reliever. So it does seem like it was I would say maybe steep price, but I think it was a fair price. Hunter Harvey is a pretty good relief pitcher. He's been pretty good the last few years. This year his ERA is right at 4, which isn't great, but his underlying metrics are better than that, and he's a really good strikeout pitcher, and he does not walk a lot of guys, which is probably music to Royals fans' ears, considering some of the bullpen problems that the Royals have had this season. But I would just say that don't get too hung up on Caden Wallace. Don't get too worried about him. Don't think the Royals are throwing away their future. The reality is Caden Wallace was probably not going to help the Royals 3 seasons from now, let alone this season, let alone next season. You've got Bobby Witt Jr. in his prime. You've still got Salvador Perez. Cole Reagans is having a fantastic year. Seth Lugo is having a fantastic year. Those guys are probably all going to get in the All-Star game tomorrow night. Be happy that the Royals made a trade to try to improve their roster. Be happy that the Royals are trying to make the playoffs. Be happy that the Royals are in position to potentially make the playoffs. I'm excited to see where the Royals go. I'm excited about Bobby Witt Jr. I'm excited about the Home Run Derby. Wow, okay, who would have thought? Yeah, the Home Run Derby's gotten kind of dull the last few years, but I think this was a really good one because a player that I was rooting for to do well did well and was in it at the very end. So that's it for me, folks. You all have a great night. Please don't forget to like and subscribe my page here. I'm really excited for football season to come up, but baseball season's not done yet. Thank you. Have a good night.